Okay, now I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but my dogs are playing upstairs, so you might hear some dog barking in the background. But anyway, what we have here are a selection of recycled harps. So this is going to be finally about this one, the nail harp. It already has a prospective buyer. It is claimed it is going to Colorado mountain jaw harp. I am going to make him a nail harp, and this is part of a windshield wiper blade. This is the spring. I don't know if stainless steel can be considered spring steel, but this is the spring metal anyway, which is stainless in a wiper blade, and that is actually the reed material that I use for this guy. This is my latest for my own personal collection. This is Zuber's harp, and I called it Zuber's harp because the frame is made out of a rusty piece of metal I found in a substation at work called Zuber's Corners. And this harp is my first nail, fully recycled from scratch harp. Nail exactly like this one, 8-inch nail with the head cut off, filed and bent into shape, but this one I did by hand. This guy I had the pleasure of using my proper universal bender, which I will break out soon, which I plan to use with this. But this guy I didn't have that, and this is how it wound up. And the reed for this one, with the hole in the end, which I put this fancy little blue tie, was a hacksaw blade. So this is one of my all-time favorite harps. I really like this harp. It is called Reptile because Google had misidentified it in a picture as a reptile. And all of this has been inspired by Sean Jones. This is just a beautiful work of art. This is an antique nail harp that I bought off of him. He had released a series of them, I don't know, a handful of nails that he got his hands on, and just made just the most amazing harp. One of the nicest, most melodic, beautiful playing harps that I have. And while I'm at it, let's just pull this out. Let's give her a little hootenanny. So this is the Sean Jones nail harp. As you can see, it has a recurved kind of swan neck trigger, which has been the inspiration for my pulse triggers, but just ridiculous gaps. The guy's a wizard. And but yeah, this is an antique nail, and then I don't know what he used for the reed. I think he had his own reed stock, but tune to E. Okay, I could go all day on that, and I can't because we need to get building a harp here. But I will quickly hootenanny on the other two as well. So let's give old Reptile a chance here. It's a much deeper one. This one's, I think, close to about C2 sharp. I hammer on this guy. This is a well-built harp. Anyway, I can go all day on this one too. And I can't because we have a harp to build. So let's get over to Zuber's harp. Also, I don't hammer too hard on this guy yet. I'm just starting to get used to him, but it's got some sturdiness too. It's close to F too. And so forth. Let's do a little muting with this one. Okay, I could go all day on that one. We got a harp to build. So, anyway, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to take a break in a sec, set up the tripod, but we are going to take this nail, we're going to clean it up, we're going to bend it, we're going to form some form of a frame to it, and then I'm going to file out a spot, a reed channel, and shape this, profile it, make it a nice reed. This is, again, the same reed material as Zuber's harp here, and that is what I did on it. You can see the reed has been sharpened. It has been tapered because, again, it is a non-tapered piece of flat wire, so I have to make my own. And I did start with this one, but I wanted to prove the concept with this guy, and I really wanted the notches. So sorry, Colorado, but you're not getting any notches in yours. But I can guarantee it's probably going to sound similar to this. Will it be that high? I don't know. Will it be a little lower? I don't know. Let's see. We got a harp to build. All right, so clearly the end of that last segment was no guarantee whatsoever, but regardless, let's get started. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's get this up here. I'm going to put that in the vise, and I am going to use a wire brush. Let's zoom out a bit. How about this? There we go. Wire brush on the end of my drill. This drill does everything in this box. I got a flapper disc, a couple of grinding wheels, and the drill runs it all. So, safety glasses this time. Oh, all right. Maybe that's not going to work out. Because I don't want to spray all this stuff all over there. I don't really want to spray it all that way either. I want to kind of get it out this way. So, let's just be careful. Or better yet, oh my gosh. Let's go to the other side. Man, that is stinking. All right. Just going to try and get as much as I can from this angle first before I reposition it. Hopefully this isn't too noisy. It's definitely not as loud as the grinder is. So you can see the chalkiness and corrosion on the one side, and it's getting clean now. I like these recycle builds because it's going to wind up with a one-of-a-kind, nothing like it harp. It's got its story, although I don't remember where I got this nail from, to be honest. Pretty sure we picked it up camping. That's where the other one came from, too. But it's got the twist in it, so that kind of gives a really cool effect on the frame. I want to use the wire brush instead of the sandpaper or flapper wheel because the sandpaper will actually abrade the metal away, whereas this just cleans off the corrosion, and that is helpful because we want to keep the original metal because I like the charm. This one's not that beat up. It would have been cool if it was a little bit more beat up even, but that's why this has got its cool look because there was so much corrosion and rust on it that when you cleared it all away, it's just this pitted metal, which for its original purpose would probably be just terrible. But for a jaw harp, I think it looks awesome. Still. Oh. I think that's just about it. I wonder if there's some way I can incorporate these notches. Can you mind frame here? Okay, good. Here, let's get off the tripod. Back to normal view. Oh, here we go. But I am going to have to file that. No, that's your teeth are going to go there. So that's going to have to get probably cut off or smoothed out. But I'm going to use these as the starting point for the angle. If I remember right, when I did that before, I wound up with a twist. Yeah, I got to be careful with my direction because I had to twist the frame on that. It was a real not fun time. So anyway, I'm going to use, so as you can see, the end of the nail is basically the starting point of the four sides of a piece of square, except it's, diamond. So square it out, get started on that side, and then I'm just going to have to go from scratch on that side to make the decks. Anyway, I don't know how much longer we need to stare at this nail. Okay, it was difficult to hold my vise because of the twist, so I'm going to start off with the grinder. I'm just going to see how flat I can get it starting off with the grinder because last time I did this, I don't remember if I used my old grinder, but it was a POS. So anyway, let's see. Oh, have I even told you what I'm doing? My plan is to, before I bend it, get that square on either end because it's just easier to work with. I'm going to get my sharp edges and then I'm going to work my bends from there. And I'm not going to carry on too long with this because it's going to be boring and loud. But let's get started. I wonder if I should mark this so I know how far down to go. Anyway, you get the gist. Alright, so the grinder kind of worked, got a starting point, but this is really the way it's going to work. This is the best way, it seems, to just kind of hold it steady and get right on the angle that I want. The grinding wheel, it's round, you can't really see. So getting it lined up with the point wasn't really working out so well. So I don't know. I don't even know if I'll bother trying to start it, but this is kind of where I'm at now. It's going to be a filed down harp, and I'm not wearing these anymore. Nerd, right? Okay. So you can see it's starting to take a bit of shape. have to work on this side a little bit more next. You can see that this is probably the best side with the grinder. So I'll just start filing it down. I should be getting to a pretty good square point soon. And then I will line up the square end on this side as well. And then that'll be just better and easier for alignment when I actually go to do my bends. Okay, here's where I'm at for now with this harp. Coming along, but I realized I got lucky with the grinder because getting these angled edges that are not square to the way I wanted the frame to come out is almost too much material taken off. So especially places like that, trying to get those corners to now meet up, I have to file down quite a bit with this guy and this guy. And my arms are getting tired. So I'm going to work on these harps for a bit. Got a couple of fluxes on order. So I'm going to take this material here and I'm going to strip off the zinc. And that'll probably be it for tonight. Adios. All right, so I remember vowing never to work with a nail again when I did that guy. And I'm remembering why. There's a lot of filing involved, and that one was a lot of bending too, but I've got my universal bender, which should help. But yeah, so here's where I'm at. I managed to square up, hold on, there we go. Square up this side pretty good. Almost looks like an obelisk. I don't know if I'm going to leave that point or not. Last time I wound up chopping it off. It got in the way. But I'm going to see if I can preserve it somehow and maybe mimic it on this side. But I've got a bit of a plan now. I'm just going to give myself a bit of a break. At first I was just filing away 4 sides, getting it squared. But then I realized I had to start kind of coming up with a plan because the edge that I was trying to achieve was starting to have different lengths based on how poor of a job I did earlier and the twist of the nail. So this is going to be, I've decided, these two here, the inner decks. So this will be the inner edge. And I've got some markings just for my own mental notes. And this has now allowed me to lay out the midpoint and where I need to get the other edge. So I'm going to line it up and then it will be bent around. Like that. Of course, it won't be shaped like that. The arms will start to come towards the center like that. But the idea is that from the center point, it will bend around and then the sharpened sections will come together. All right, at it again. So here's what I'm aiming for. I've already started. As you can see, there is quite a bit that ends up coming off. That's fairly small. There's still some good size to that. My elbow is already crying. All right, time to get back at it. So I am trying to square up the other side, and this side here has much more clear of a taper. So I've put this side in here at a bit of an angle to try and just kind of give this also a bit of that sort of taper. So I'm gonna film for a little bit. Why not? This is a long process. I've been at this for a couple days now, actually. You probably can't tell in the video. Not that I do it straight through for, I go to work and eat supper and stuff like that. So, yeah. So it might seem like I'm just kind of giving her back and forth like a saw, which, depending on the saw, is also not a good thing. Jasper wanted in. A file only cuts in one direction. And I'm actually using that force to cut in one direction and just resetting myself. So I'm actually pressure applying in one direction, relaxing in the other. I just have been doing this for a long time. So keep that in mind when you're using a file and you start to see it all gum up and get wrecked and the teeth are all messed up. And that would be why. So I'm cutting, retracting, basically like that. And a trick you can do if you want to keep it flat, because sometimes you wobble back and forth if you're going straight on like this. I was taught this in machine shop class back in high school. Cross like this. I kind of like to do it on a bit of an angle, but even if you directly across like this at a 90 degree, it will cut the steel. And you can actually keep it at a much better, stable, flat angle without it teetering on you so much. So, tricks of the trade. Ooh. If it wasn't for my interest in electricity, I would have gone into machining, tool and die making, some form of manufacturing, but I'm an electrician instead. I'm actually an electrical technologist with an electrician's ticket. Okay, I am going to put the point on here before I get too far ahead using the grinder. Here we go. Nobody gonna drive a second class of the equality. No suppression of minorities. There you go. There we go. We'll go with that for now, and I'll file it a bit pointier maybe. Ow. So there's that. What I've done. Good starting point. A little blunt. I'm gonna have to just point it a bit. All right, and here it is. So here's where I'm at for now. So I've laid out the length of the inner edge portion, and I've got enough there to match on that side. Wasn't so worried about making the edges match on the back sides because I'm going to just give them some contours and shape later, but the inside will work. So now the trick, this is my universal bender here, is I'm going to have to hold this in here somehow, right at the right spot, and then this guy goes in here and it's processed. So let's set up and do that. Okay, so I need to do that, I think. That's a 1-inch mandrel. Yeah. Oh, I might not be able to go back here. Yeah, that'll work. So the trick is going to be to keep it straight and then bend it in the same direction when I flip it over to the other side, without turning or twisting or anything. That's where the practice and be careful. So, I might just go for it. I'll start it off and then I'm going to move it to the next hole. How about that? Yeah, these are very hard. I really struggled with the first one. And I just realized I didn't bend the arms first. I'm gonna have to do that first. Hoping I don't get on that inner edge there too much. But it should be okay, I think. I'm gonna have to revisit this. Man, I messed up here. All right, problem solved. I was able to just kind of put it in backwards like that. Should be good. And I'm just gonna give it a bit of an angle. Jesus Christ. Trying not to cut myself on any sharp edges or anything, or break it. Try that again. Maybe heating it up would have helped a bit. There's a twist.
Yo, I don't hang out with those guys. Man, I ain't got nothing to do with those dudes.
Man, and I saw your female with them too. What's up with Harp? I've been hearing that she's been giving that stuff out to all them graffiti
Yo,
guys.
shut the fuck up, Chico, man.
Could paint 3 of those murals for some of that ass.
Professor, what's another word for pirate treasure?
Well, I think it's booty. 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 That's what it is.
Yes, I got more bounce in the fucking bump, and then you wanna know why? Because I'm motherfucking trucking. Drilled in the block and just like Brady T. Got supplies of peace, so you don't have to wait. Cause I'm the master blaster. Lifting up the Shasta. My voice sounds sweet cause it has to. So I don't match to my ass cause I'm blowing up. I like to thank the people for just showing up. But now I want y'all to move it. Put your point on the floor and just prove it. And I'm smurfing, not rehearsing, getting live, y'all. A little
Absolutely.
messy, so you know
This
I
way.
do it right, 'cause that's the kind of frame of mind I'm in. I got this feeling that it's back again, so don't touch me, 'cause I'm electric. And if you touch me, you'll get shocked.
Well, I think it's booty.
You got the booing system, but it's slicing out doo. Do you think it's chocolate milk, but it's watered down you? Who I've been through many times in which I thought I might lose it. The only thing that saved me has always been music. We got our own studio that's under the G. It's no question, life's been good to me. 'Cause life ain't nothing but a good brew. A good mixtape can put you in the right mood. This one goes out to my man, the groove merchant. Going through beats for which I've been searching. Like 2 sealed copies of expansions. I'm like Tom Cruise with yachts and mansions. The lower I sport is the face of the mummy. Union made Ben Davis, quality is on Jones. See my chrome is shining, just like an icicle. I ride around town, I'm a little ride a bicycle. Do you know what you're telling me to do? I live my own life.
All right, I'm gonna have to see what's going on here. I'm starting to bend everything. All right, here's where I am for now. I just recorded a segment and I finished off the bend, but I actually didn't record it. I thought I did. But yeah, this is too much for it. This is clearly a very tough metal. I probably should have heated it a little bit. It's just a bit much for this bender. I was bending the handle all up and I managed to kind of straighten it all out. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of stress on it. So I am going to go to an old tried and true method that I use to finish this off here, where I'm going to put it in the vise and pinch it. There we go. So let's put this out of the way for now. We use the mandrel from it, put it around like such, and then I'm just going to start to 5:30. No, I want to do that. I'm going to do it here. Not working out the way I was hoping. there. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Kind of ugly now. But oh, let's fix that. There we go. As you can see, sometimes the process is not overly graceful or elegant or even practical. Sometimes you just have no other recourse. Now, that's not bad. Now this isn't I wouldn't recommend doing this too often on your vise, but oops. Especially if you're gonna hit your vise. I gotta go. All right, I'm not having much luck. I am going to heat it a little bit to try and just get a bit more of a bend on that left arm. And we'll see how well that goes. So, might as well film my struggles. Get back up on the tripod here. Heat torch going. So, is this even a good view? Let's go like this. How about this? There. Zoom in a bit. So I'm pinching it just on the very end with the hopes that I don't transfer too much heat into the vise. I want to keep all the heat right here so I can get the metal nice and soft so I can give it a bit of a bend. The problem is this torch may not quite get hot enough for this size of steel. I did have problems with 1/4 inch square stock, but I also didn't have a full propane tank, I don't think, so it's hard to say. Okay, so it worked. It took a little time, but I was able to heat it up enough that I was able to bend it into shape and, for a good start. So I am just taking the twist out of it to make the alignment a little bit better on the other arm. And then from there, I should be able to cold bend everything, hopefully, which I have some more control over. Yeah, and there it is. It's got a little bit of heat. It's made it much easier to bend into shape. Got the twist out of it a bit. Still too hot to touch, but I'm getting some good curves. And here's where we're at. Took a little bit of heating, bit of elbow grease, but it's into a good shape. Needs a bit of alignment still. And of course I got to bring the arms together, but I've got the diamonds basically on the plane the way I need it. And yeah, the start of a good angle. And so now the trick is going to be to start forming it to match this reed here, which is a fair bit narrower than Reptile here. But as you can see, starting to be roughly the same size. Okay, and now what I'm doing is I wire brushed it to clean up a bit of the heat oxidation that was on there. and I'm just finishing the inner edges because you can see the file marks there. And it's going to take that coloring off. That's okay. And see, I did this side already. Nice and sharp. So the idea, file it down, and I'll file the other side, and it sharpens to a nice point. I take it out of the vise and show you, but it took me a lot to line it up. Sometimes part of the harp making process is a little bit more delicate, a little more careful. I'm not really powering with this filing. I'm just kind of filing really lightly. I've got enough of a space that I learned to do this, leave enough space that I can actually get the file through it without damaging the other side if I've already shaped it, which I have on this one. And yeah, just take it easy. You'll get there. Sometimes you can be fast and furious, but other times patience is a virtue. Okay, update of where I'm at. Did a bit of shaping and filing and cleaning up of the frame. So you can see I put some notches in there, and clearly the gap between the two arms is too wide. But I've sharpened the inner decks now. I wanted room to be able to do that to get the file in. Nice edge on there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in the vise, and I'm gonna heat the corner right here and bend this one arm in according to the taper I'm achieving on the reed. As you can see, I've started to get it laid out, and I've used my belt sander to do the initial shaping. But now, this is a little trick that I've come up with to make sure that it is flat. I just run it across like this, kind of a backwards file. I'm actually moving the material on the file, and I wind up generally making it a nice flat tapered reed. Anyway, I'm gonna carry on. Okay, I guess I got a bit carried away. So I've done a bit more shaping, alignment, and cleaning up. You can see I've got the inner decks pretty much sharpened and cleaned up. Took out all the tooling marks, all the heat coloring that from torching it and trying to get it bent is cleaned up. And it is nice and shiny with some cool textures. And I've started cutting in the reed channel here, which I do by just clamping it on my old piece of wood that I've been using from day one. And pretty soon we're going to be looking like this. So okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be some filing. I forgot to start filming again. What I've done is the crimp. So I plunked that on the anvil there, and I just gave her. So with these big beefy nails and pieces of scrap steel, I just give her. Whereas with those harps that I use the square stock for, I will use a proper punch and do it a little bit more surgical. And now I'm trying to line up the arms. And it is proving to be difficult, but we will get there. Okay, here's where we're at. I got the gap set. Took a bit of manhandling. Always goes back to just being the tried and true method of pinching it in the vise. Gaps are set. I've got the finish. I think it looks cool. It's got all the right marks in it that I want it to be kept. No sharp edges. Feels comfortable. I like the shape of the tail. Just simple. I'm going to engrave my maple leaf on there. But get a load of this. Not even bent yet. So let's bend the trigger. And why even stop filming? Except I don't have my tripod here. So let's just go with it. Right? Here we go. Why don't we here. And here's how I do it. So I'm gonna put it up on here. We are going to light our torch, grab our pliers. This striker sucks. And we give her. You probably can't see this. I'm blocking the view, aren't I? And go for the loop. Oop. A little small. That's all right, I think. Okay. Let's take a look. What do we think? I think it's not bad. All right. I don't normally lick my fingers. You don't want to do that on a harp, but okay, it's seems cool. Yep, it's nice. I don't think I'm going to tune it. I think I'm going to leave it exactly like that, except I'm just going to sand it up and polish it a little bit so it's nicer to play. And then we'll see what it sounds like. Plays nice. Okay, and here it is. The finished product. Made from a nail, an 8-inch nail, and a piece of windshield wiper blade. We're amongst friends here. This one being made from a nail and a hacksaw blade. This one being made from the windshield wiper blade and just a scrap piece of metal. This one's currently my favorite harp. Call that one Zuber's harp. That one's Reptile. And this one is Colorado Mountain Harp is harp. And hopefully it's obvious what that's supposed to be there. If it's not, flag of Colorado. My mark there. And because this is a special build, I decided to date it. There we go. And just put Boxcar Harp Company on there. So I preserved the end of the nail on one side and I kind of mimicked it on the other. And I think it looks cool. And I think it sounds good. And it is untuned above D sharp 2. Adios.